law of attraction is basically, well, we'll start with the law of vibration. So everything in this world has a vibration, it has a frequency. So some things vibrate very slowly and then they become physical matter. Some things vibrate incredibly quickly, like sound or light, things like that. And so that's kind of what vibration is. And we as humans pick up on a lot of vibrations. If you've ever been to a super loud concert, you've heard the music. You felt the music, you can feel it in your bones. You can feel it. And I'm sure over some point in time, you've met someone that you immediately loved or you immediately didn't love. Like you were like, yes, I love when I get to see Patrick Clark. He just lights me up. Or you're like, that Patrick Clark, I get a bad feeling off of him. And so vibration attracts to it things that are similar. And so this is the way that law of attraction basically says that when you think about something and you vibrate to that frequency, you're going to pull more of that into your life. And so we see examples of this in our lives. Like if you've ever had this situation where, let's say you're in high school and nobody's asking you to the dance, and then all of a sudden somebody asks you to the dance, and now you feel like you have a date for the dance, and then 3 other people ask you to go to the dance, and you're like, where were you yesterday? Today I have a date. And so law of attraction kind of works like that. Like we attract people with about the same level of power that we have. Like we attract people that situations, like if you've believed that something's going to be a bad time, chances are you had a bad time. If you believed that it was going to be a good time, chances are you had a good time. And so some of this is like the universe playing with us, and some of this is just our own brain chemistry, and we'll get into that as we go. And so in the world, we kind of have 3 vibrational realms. So there's the physical world. So this is where thought becomes thing. This is where it's actually the thing, actually the glass, actually me talking to you on this computer that's in your hands, right? And so there's a situation in the physical world. Then we get into the realm of like what's possible. And so this is all of the maybes. This is where uncertainty is. And so right now, everything in our physical world in the last 2 weeks has been absolutely flipped upside down, right? Like all the things that we used to think were predictable, going to work every day, having our kids go to school every day, all of the things that we thought were predictable are now not even a thing anymore. Some of them are like, but a lot of the things that we count on in our world for predictability are just non-existent. We just don't have them anymore. And so this is where we get into the realm of possibilities. Now, possibilities, we're going to talk a little bit more as we go on, but it's both worry and, well, what if? What if we come out of this better than we went in? What if the economy is stronger? What if this, or it could be like, well, what if unemployment goes to 35%? And so worry and what if happen in the same realm, that realm of possibilities. And then there's the third realm, and that's the realm of like infinite and pure potentiality. And so there are things that are possible that don't make sense. Like we've all had a situation where like it seems like a miracle happens, or it seems like something that you needed came so out of the blue and got to you, or just like a random circumstance that you were like, whoa, that was like exactly, like that was weird, like that was exactly what I needed at that exact moment. That's it's like the expression like when the student is ready the teacher will appear type thing. And so I kind of just wanted to give that as like a basics. So we have the physical world, so that's when the vibration starts in the infinite pure potentiality, right? It kind of comes through the realm of possibilities. Now, the realm of possibilities for us is very much dictated by our belief system. And I say that because we have a part of our brain called our reticular activating system, and that is basically the filter for what gets into our realm of consciousness. And so that filter takes about 2 billion bits of information every single second of every single day and helps you focus them down to your reality. 2 billion goes all the way down to 2,000. And that's your reticular activating system at work there. And so when we think about possibilities, so the way that your brain is programmed, like the way that you grew up, the way that you see the world, very much influences your reality, because that realm of possibilities, you may not see possibilities that your spouse sees. You may not see possibilities that your kids see. Have you ever hung out with someone who's either just absolutely miserable or so happy that it makes you like question whether or not they're stable? They have a very different reality than you. You can be looking at the exact same thing, and someone who's not you may see a very different, they may have a very different experience of the same thing that you look at. And so we all have a different reality. And that's based on, so in the realm of possibilities, we are our own limitations there, because we're born with wide open minds, and then we live in the world, and the world kind of beats that out of us a little bit. And so a new idea is going to come in. It's going to be like infinite potentiality, right? And then it's going to go into the realm of possibility, and then it's going to go into the realm of the physical world. And that's kind of how ideas come. So let's just say, for example, at one point, this fabulous device here was an inspiration. It was an idea. It was a thought. Wouldn't it be crazy if we could get phones to take pictures? Wouldn't it be nuts if we could get the phone to connect to the internet? Like, I think most of you guys, most of you on here, we watched this happen. Like, I remember not having a cell phone. My first cell phone did not do all the cool stuff that this cell phone does. And so that's where we're like, well, wouldn't it be nice? And so that's that's the inspiration. You get those ideas, and then you're like, well, how would it work? And you think about it, and then all of a sudden, when you're aligned, you start to get like what I call downloads, like where the idea that's going to work comes to you. Normally while you're in the shower, like not even when you're thinking about it, but like you get clear, and then all of a sudden you're like, all right, yeah, this is going to be it. This will work. This is what we're going to try. And then when you feel like you can do something, you feel like you have your next right step, then you have motivation. Then you have some motivation to do it. You're like, you know what? I'm gonna call Samsung. I bet they could help me with this. I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna get some money together and see if we could do this. And so then law of attraction will help call in everything that you need to get this idea done. It'll call in the friends, the helpers, the money, the resources that you need to get it into the physical world. And that's generally the way that we see that I see this process go for people. And so this is the idea of alignment. So alignment, you are going to be at your most powerful. You are going to be able to manifest your cleanest when you're aligned. And so alignment works on really there's like 5 different points to alignment, and everything kind of has to be like for manifestations to happen and for you to really be in your most powerful. All right. So the first thing that you need is vision. And so I was just talking about this. So vision and inspiration kind of go together. Generally, people with big visions, they're inspired by something. They go together. And so vision is going to be the first thing. This is going to be like your GPS for where you're going, no matter what you're creating, whether or not you're creating Disney World, a fantastic client experience for your customers, cell phone, it doesn't matter. So then your thoughts are the next level. So you have your vision. Now your thoughts, we really have 2 varieties of thoughts. We have our conscious thoughts that sit in our prefrontal cortex. These are the thoughts that you can pretty easily control. Like if I said to you, say, danger, danger, Will Robinson, inside your head right now, this is this part of your brain saying that, right? So close your mouth, danger, danger, Will Robinson. Like that's your conscious brain. So that thing works together with the subconscious part of your brain. Now the subconscious part of your brain is significantly stronger and significantly more powerful than the conscious part of your brain. And so oftentimes we will decide that we want something here, but we don't have the programming to support that idea in the subconscious brain. So we'll say things like, I want to be wealthy beyond all imagination. Well, your subconscious brain was like, well, girl, slow your roll. Oh, we grew up lower middle class, and there's gonna be a lot of work to do there. Like, you want, like, this part's like, I want $15,000 Tiffany bracelets. And this part of your brain was like, well, you can't buy things you don't need. So let's try to justify a $15,000 bracelet. Nope, nope. And so this is where we will come. This is where a lot of alignment issues happen. Is the conscious brain wants one thing, the subconscious brain is like, that's kind of not how we do things around here. So those are the, so vision, thoughts, and then we have our vision, our conscious thoughts, our unconscious thoughts. This is the third part. When we can get those unconscious thoughts to go, oftentimes we get feelings. So there are certain things that you can say or you can think that will give you a good or a bad feeling, right? So like right now, for example, if I was like, could you bring up an old story in your mind right now and immediately be mad at your spouse? Anyone? Go ahead, put it in the chats if you could do this, right? Yes. Shauna says yes. I'm sure if we all wanted to do this, we could go from being absolutely neutral right now to I will punch you in the face if you come near me, right? We don't punch our spouses, of course. I'm kind of teasing, but so so thoughts lead emotion. So those feelings, so when we talk about law of attraction, if you've read The Secret or you watch that, a lot of law of attraction stuff is very not thorough in this explanation. And so a lot of times what they forget is that it's really the feeling that puts out the vibe. Like, you ever have the experience where your kid comes home or your spouse comes home and you can tell they had the best day? They come home, they look light, they're smiling, like you can feel it on them. Or that feeling when your kid comes home and somebody said something mean to them on the bus. They get in the house and they're like a little ball. Like, and so this is, you can tell those feelings on somebody. You can feel that. Have you ever been lied to and you knew you were being lied to? You're like, that doesn't make sense. That's not true. So this is feelings. So we have feelings, and this feelings is really the part where you manifest from. Like, you don't really manifest your thoughts. Like, if humans have an electromagnetic field and your thoughts are very tiny on the electromagnetic field, your feelings are basically all of it. And so this is the entire point of what we're going to do today, is we're going to work on like controlling those feelings. All right. And so then that's the fourth part. And so then the fifth part is action. So it's, what are we going to do to walk this out? And so a lot of times when we think about manifesting, we often go straight to action. Well, what can I do about this? Well, what can I do about this? Well, how do I do this? How can I get there? How can I make this happen? And oftentimes if you're not in alignment with the rest of it, let's say you have your vision here, your conscious thoughts here, your subconscious thoughts are way over here, not in alignment. Your feelings are going to follow those subconscious thoughts. All the action in the world isn't going to do the trick because you're not in alignment. That's why there are a lot of people who really work hard who don't get places. And it's because if you don't believe that that's the kind of person you are, you're not going to get there. It's not going to happen. And so when I'm working with my one-on-one clients, a lot of time, this is the main work that we do, is we work on that emotional intelligence around the feelings part, and we work on that subconscious programming. Because show of hands for people who were raised by wealthy people who also had a healthy relationship with money. No one. It doesn't exist. I mean, I've not had, obviously, if someone had that, they wouldn't be my client anyways. But that's the real problem. So when it comes to finances, is everybody got the same message growing up. Well, you go to school, you get a good job, and the reason is so that way you can make a lot of money. Well, the thing is having the means to be wealthy or the potential to be wealthy is not the same thing as having the alignment to be wealthy. You need the alignment to be wealthy. And I'm telling you guys, I have clients who have not made very much, whose earnings, I'm always amazed at how much wealth they have compared to their earnings. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense in comparison. So so that's kind of how that goes. That's where we get jammed up. So right now, actually, let me just ask, does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any questions right now? If you do, just go ahead and put them in the chat. I'm going to take 1 second and see if we can try one more time to get this live stream to go up, because I would really like for it to be live. All right, so no questions there? All right, so then the next part of what I want to talk about is uncertainty. So right now we're in a situation where the world has basically gone bananas, where the situations have changed and everything in our physical world feels uncertain. Things that we used to feel like we could count on maybe exist, maybe don't exist, or have changed in some way. What this does on your subconscious, so one of the jobs of your subconscious brain is to keep you alive. Every single day, it just wants to keep you alive. So your body systems, it's like basically just wondering how can we stay alive today? And that's a major part of what your brain does. And so your subconscious brain loves what's familiar. It loves what it already knows because it knows you can survive. You're still alive if you're on this live stream, right? So you're still alive. So your brain knows that you can survive in certain circumstances, and it tries incredibly, its main objective every day is like be alive at the end of the day. And so your brain, your subconscious brain is already on edge. And part of this is because there's a limited amount of glucose that gets to your brain. And so conscious thoughts take up a lot of glucose. This part of your brain takes up a lot of glucose in comparison to the other parts of your brain. And so the way that our brain works is your brain, once it figures out a couple of things, it puts it on autopilot. Your brain does as much on autopilot as it possibly can, right? And so now we're out of our autopilot realms. Like every day you normally get up, you drink your coffee, you do the thing, you go to work. Today you're not doing that, and it's not a weekend. So your brain is already like on edge here. And so scarcity and fear are rampant right now. And scarcity is the specific fear of not having enough. It works in all different realms of your life. It could be not having enough time, not having enough money, not, just not having enough mental energy, not having enough, whatever it is. And so the way that scarcity works is it's basically threefold, kind of like physical, possible, and infinite, right? So it's threefold. So scarcity is a thought, it's a feeling, and it's a circumstance. So right now, this is kind of the way it goes. So scarcity triggers a fear response in your body, like an amygdala response. So it's something that your brain is programmed to see. You're never going to be fully free of scarcity. This isn't work that's like you're ever going to be finished with. Scarcity, your brain sees scarcity as much of a threat as it sees a physical threat like a bear, because it's the way that your brain reads that signal is just fear of starvation. So like you may have a scarcity response like, holy shit, I'm going to have to pay my car payment late this month. I don't have enough money. I'm going to have to wait till my next paycheck. In the big scheme of things, you are going to be okay. But your body, that feeling may be very similar to feeling of a bear just attacked me. I almost got into a car accident. So how scarcity is super trapping is that when we're in scarcity, this part of our brain, our prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that can work a spreadsheet and can think, the part of your brain that knows how to work, that like has been educated, the part of your brain that can like be like, you know what? All right, let's look at this a different way. That part of your brain stops getting glucose because your body's in a stress response. So in acute scarcity will feel like a full-on fight or flight freeze response. Like you will feel like you have to do something. Something has to change. And so what ends up happening when people get into scarcity is, what I find is they make some real strange choices with their time or their money or their mental energy, that when they look back on it, they're like, huh, that's what happened there. That was what happened there. Like, WTF? How did I think that was the best choice? But in the moment, they're doing their best. And so I want to go over some of the ways that we experience scarcity, and then we're going to talk about what it feels like in our body, and then the rest of the time we're going to just start to do some energetic work. So the reason that you want to know what this is like is so this way your conscious brain can catch it. So if you know that hoarding is one of your tendencies when you're in scarcity, you get into scarcity, or like, you know what I need to do? I need to go to the store. I'm going to need so many canned tomatoes. Like, it's your brain being like, I need to make sure that we're physically okay. Makes sense, right? So you want to know how you experience scarcity so that way you can catch yourself. Like, if you're, I will tell you, I will fully fess up. So the last time I got my groceries delivered, they were out of butter because of pandemic, right? So they didn't bring me butter. I had butter. I have butter at my house. I had butter at my house. Okay. I am okay. And if I needed to use olive oil for a day or two, I would probably be okay. If I needed to go without butter for a full week, it probably wouldn't kill me, right? No one has died from not having butter for a few days. But I will tell you that not having that butter mentally really messed with me. And a couple days ago, I went to the store to go, I bought butter. I went to go to the store to buy butter, even though I didn't need butter. Like, I mean, I wasn't hoarding butter. I only bought the one, but I'm just saying, like, these are the sort of things that happen. Like, yeah, Janet says toilet paper famine. So did I need to do that? No. Did I need to go risk getting sick to go get butter that I didn't need? Absolutely not. Hard no. But my brain wouldn't leave it alone. My brain was like, they didn't bring you the butter. You're gonna run out of butter. Like, we're all in the, like, we're all, so the point is we're gonna go over this stuff so you're aware of it, so you can catch yourself. Like, I didn't freak out. I didn't buy 55 butters. I needed to have that satisfaction. Kendra says that same here with eggs. Yeah. All right. So we want to think about our primary resources. You have time, money, and mental energy are your three primary resources. Now, they're all interconnected. Like, if you could imagine one of those Irish looking things that looks like an infinity symbol, but with a third arm or whatever. So time, money, and mental energy. You can turn time, money, and mental energy literally into anything in the entire world. Time, money, and mental energy can get you a college degree. It can start a business. It can build an iPhone. It can do anything. And so scarcity is pervasive. Scarcity gets in, and all of a sudden you feel busy, you feel broke, you're exhausted. And that's kind of where we're at. So from financially speaking, scarcity shows up as one of three main things. So hoarding items is the first one. Hoarding money is the second one. And I call it the efforts, and that is actually very much connected with mental energy. It's like literally like I can't deal, so I'm going to buy this and feel the consequences financially later. Is kind of the way that goes. So hoarding stuff will cause you to spend money. So if my butter, like people who went and spent their savings accounts buying massive quantities of toilet paper, hand sanitizer, like they're going to regret that choice on a few different levels at some point, because financially speaking, we're all in a little uncertain times. So if you have no money in your bank account and 65 cases of hand sanitizer, you can't eat hand sanitizer. I mean, I guess in the current market, you could probably sell hand sanitizer, but so hoarding is definitely a way where we feel the need to stock up. We want our cabinets full. And so hoarding tendencies go from anywhere from mild to extreme. Scarcity, like you kind of want to imagine on like a 1 to 10 scale. So you hear that, you get the news that your kids are going to be home from school and they're closing everything down. You're probably experiencing fear and scarcity, probably a 7 or better, 7, 8, 9. let's say 3 months ago, you were in Target and you see a shirt that you like and you buy 3 of them. It's probably a lower level of scarcity, but it's like, oh, I like the shirt and I'm never going to see the shirt again, so I need to buy 3 of them, right? When he says, if we're home now, we really don't even need hand sanitizer. Yeah, just wash them. Yeah, exactly. So hoarding, you'll know if you have hoarding tendencies. So like, look, when we get off this live stream, you can go look in your closet or your pantry. And if you have cans from 2007, you may have some hoarding tendencies. If you have clothes in your closet or in your drawers that you've never worn, you may have some, that scarcity may show up as hoarding tendencies. If you're, if you have more than a month's supply of basic needs in your house, hoarding may be the way that scarcity shows up for you. Like, this is how you're going to notice it. Depriving is when you hoard money. And so this is when you don't let money flow out. You try to keep the money in your bank accounts. And so this will be like not getting your oil changed because you don't want to spend the money, not fixing things, not buying new clothes when you need new clothes. Like, so you may be like a depriving if your bras are from college, or, if you have 18-year-old sweatpants, if your toothbrush is a year old, like those sort of things. If you've ever put off all of your repairs until everything literally in your house breaks at the same time, these are, and you can do both. Believe me, you can do both. And then the efforts is just the situation where you're like, I'll buy this now and I'll deal with the consequences later. So time, we'll experience scarcity with time around FOMO. So it's like FOMO's fear of missing out. So that's doing things that you don't actually want to do. It's saying yes when you want to say no. That's really what that is. It's saying yes when you want to say no. It's be like, do you want to shake the can for the t-ball team outside? It's Saturday all day. It's 8 hours. You're probably going to collect $54. And you're like, yes, I totally want to do that. That's like, if you say yes to that and it's not in your heart to say yes, your heart is like, no, it's going to be nice. I don't want to lay in the sun. And your brain is like, yes, I'll do that. That's time, but this is scarcity with time. That doesn't, FOMO is over committing because everything seems so important. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Wendy Healy corrects me up. She says, oh, hell no. Overworking is another way we get into time scarcity. So if you're picking up a lot of overtime, if you're really hustling, if you're really going hard at work, what that will do is oftentimes overworking will create binge spending, because so the next thing on time is like all types of convenience purchases, like overdoing it in convenience. So generally overworking and convenience purchases, they go hand in hand, because you deserve it after you worked 18 hours today and you just can't deal with going home to feed yourself and you're starving. So you have to stop, and buy yourself a sandwich. But those sort of things, like they kind of compound as time goes on. So FOMO, overworking, and like really overdoing the convenience purchases is how we get into like time scarcity. Now, mental energy scarcity is, it generally comes from just like the mental load of all the things that we do. And so when it comes to money, sometimes we'll see it as ambivalence. And that's kind of like I will deal with this later. When the kids finish soccer, I'm gonna get my accounts into Mint when the kids finish soccer. Or I'm gonna start you guys, it's Sunday in my family's home, so you saw my kids. Or like it's like I will start saving for the kids' college when we finish paying for daycare, and then when we finish paying for lessons, and then when we finish paying for their braces, that's when we'll get to it. And so it's like putting off, or it can show up kind of just like as a quiet acceptance of the situation, even though you don't like it. So it's like, I really hate being broke most of the time, but I'm just resigning myself to that. It's like a passive FU to society. It's like, well, I'm not even going to try to play the rat race game. I'm not even going to try to climb the corporate ladder. I'm not going to try to do those things, because there's like a level of ambivalence there. Another way that we scarcity shows up in mental energy is tolerating toxic situations or toxic people. And you guys know what that's like, right? And then it's feelings of like, I can't deal. Like I need to worry about, I need to take responsibility of something like this. And I just can't deal. Like I can't deal. And this happens when your mental energy is just fully spent. So like oftentimes I'll see can't deal more so with like moms with multiple kids or younger kids, because everything's going so fast and mental energy is spread so thin. Although it can totally happen if you have a stressful job, if you're in a stressful relationship, like that's not for moms specifically. It happens to all of us at different points in our lives. And so scarcity shows up in those ways. Do you guys have any questions about how scarcity shows up in your life? Is there anything there that I can answer for you? Wendy Healy says, it seems like you have time to save and then all of a sudden you run out of time. Yeah, because life goes by super, super fast. Yeah. All right, so if you have questions, go ahead, just put them in there. So here's what we're gonna do. So right now we're gonna get into the exercise portion of this, because what I want you to be able to do is, my goal for you is to be able to, so thought leads emotion, right? So we talked about that in the first part of our thing. So thought leads emotion, and I want you to be able to kind of call on some of these higher vibe emotions. So when you are in scarcity, you're not going to make good decisions. And here's why, is because if you're feeling like you don't have enough time, you know what you do? You take on more commitments. If you're feeling like you don't have mental energy, you know what you do? You waste your mental energy scrolling the interwebs and reading articles about coronavirus. If you don't have enough money, you know, it really makes your decision making around what you do buy real weird. And so then we kind of create those situations. Oh, Janet says, I thought it was interesting that you said overworking equals convenience purchases. When she's in the middle of exam grading season, she's always ordering takeout or delivery. Yeah, that's how it goes. And so then you do that, you overwork, you make extra money, you spend extra money, and then you're not making the kind of progress you thought you were. So then you're working more and then you're spending more, and you can run really fast in the busy, broken, exhausted cycle. I promise you guys, you can, if you're stuck in that loop, going faster doesn't help. Shauna says a self-fulfilling prophecy. Absolutely. Yeah. So for example, so if I feel like I'm not going to have enough, and then I take the money that's in my bank account and I go and I like buy toilet paper and hand sanitizer and all these things that I may or may not actually really truly need and desire, then I'm not actually going to have money, and I'm for real going to be short on something when the time comes and I need money and I can't buy for the thing that I need with hand sanitizer. Like that's how that goes. So if you look in your closets and you're like, man, I have 6 weeks worth of paychecks in this closet for stuff that I don't actually wear, stuff that I bought because it was cheap, stuff that I don't actually desire, that's how hoarding, creates, and stores encourage this, like BOGO sales, buy one, get one. Why do you need two? Or why do you want two? Do you want two, or do you want to get a good deal? And that's a very different question, because if you want two, well then by all means get two. But if you're getting two to get the 50% off, well, why do then it's kind of like, well, what's going on here? So, all right. So the first thing that I want you to do is take 30 seconds and just check in with yourself. What is your body feeling like? Do you have any tightness anywhere? Kendra, it's like the ugly $2 sweater I bought and I still haven't worn or gotten rid of. Yes. Yep. That is literally, that's an exact thing that I'm talking about. So body check-in. So we're going to get into the exercise portion if we're done talking about how scarcity, like why scarcity, like how and why. So take a deep breath and write down feelings about your body. Do you have any tightness anywhere? Do you have can you feel any stress anywhere? How do your shoulders feel? How does your stomach feel? And I'm guessing that we're probably just kind of neutral right now, unless you're having some sort of big emotional response for something. So I'm going to just be quiet for a second and let you guys do that. And then we'll have like 2 or 3 people share. So if you want to, if you're willing to share what your neutral feels like, please just post in the chat so I can ask you. All right, who raised their hands? Look at you guys using all this stuff that I maybe don't know how to use. All right. Patrick Clark is feeling on the better side of neutral. Had a call earlier that put me higher vibe. Was thinking about overcoming that fear with my list. Perfect to talk. All right, Carrie Walker, how does neutral feel for you?
Oh, that's why I had raised my hand as I was, I had to hop in the kitchen. I was like, what was the question? Neutral. Well, I do know what neutral feels like. Honestly, it kind of like just feels like, you know, that feeling when you're drinking your cup of coffee and you're just like, all is right. And like, just relaxed. Relaxed is how neutral feels.
All right, cool. Lynn Pronger says she's getting a little bit anxious as she lives alone and has no support, but she's still working on it a bit. So check in with yourself and see where you are right now. All right, and so here's what we're gonna do, is we're gonna use our minds to essentially move us from, we're gonna start low vibe, we're gonna start fear, we're gonna start scarcity, and then we're gonna practice higher and higher things. That's what we're gonna do. All right, Janet says, I feel stress and anxiety in my neutral. It's a lot to take in. I'm learning to teach art via distance learning, not knowing what supplies kids have at home will be an interesting week. Ooh, Peapod is here. Yeah, go get that delivery, lady. Okay, so, and wherever you're starting from is fine. All right, so here's the first thing that we're gonna do. So I want you to mentally go down that rabbit hole a little bit. Go ahead and write down, let's say 5 or 10 things that right now you're actually worried about. Things that are stressors for you, things that are on your mind. All right, so I'll be quiet for a second and give you time to think about what are the things that you're afraid of happening. I'll give you a minute there. Yeah, go ahead. You guys can go ahead and just type them in so that way I can read them, and so write them down for yourself, or if you're willing, go ahead and put them in the chat bot. So Tangi says catching the virus and not being able to work. That's a very legitimate worry. Who's worried about losing some income? What else? Karen says anxious right now because I lost 3 sources of part-time income due to the pandemic. My part-time job, or my full-time job, is still paying me though. I'm worried about my son. He misses school and his friends. All right, Deb is worried about losing income. Lynn is worried about losing income. Kendra's worried about excessive debt. Hubby not being able to keep steady work or pay. Scarcity of food. Go ahead. I'll wait for a couple more. So go ahead and type them in as fast as you can go. Toilet paper. Finally bought a buyer for my biz, but now I'm afraid it will die before I can sell it. Revenue's down due to the markets. How to bring in more clients. Okay. So do another body check-in. Check in with yourself here and see, what does that feel like? Is there any heaviness anywhere? Can you feel any, I don't know who admin is, but my business is closed, no income, and husband's business is very, very precarious. All right, Deb says her stomach, she has stomach. So let me know in the comments. Oh, admin is Lauren Wood. Oh, fantastic. All right. Evelyn says lost income, kids losing out on education, not growing my business, getting sick and passing it to my children. Tight in the shoulders and the neck, pit in my stomach. Who else has a pit in their stomach? Shoulders and chest. I'll tell you guys, for scarcity for me is chest. It sits right here. It makes me feel like I can breathe, but not deeply, like a very shallow breathing. All right, heaviness in my throat because I'm afraid to ask more money if I need it. Ooh, all right, made my heart rate slightly. The tightness of chest and stressed, right? Okay, feeling of helplessness, stomach and shoulders. All right, so we know what this fear feels like in our body, and so I want you to really pay attention. Clenched jaw, yes. I want you to really pay attention to what this feeling feels like, because if this is your state, if you can feel this in your body, this is absolutely not the time to be making financial choices. You want to like take a breath. You want to stop. Like if you're at a spot where you're like, I don't even know if I could breathe, that's, you want to put any financial decisions off for a minute, even if it's small. Like, should I buy one more case of toilet paper? Yeah. Yep. Okay. My daughter says that when she's fearful, it feels like she's holding her breath and can't let it out. Yeah, I'm kind of with her there, Evelyn. All right. So I want you to think, so no, we're gonna shake this off for a second, and then I want you to think about disappointment, because disappointment is, it's a better feeling than being deep in fear. So I want you to think of a time where you were just disappointed. You were expecting something to happen, it didn't happen the way that you wanted, and you were just disappointed about it. You just disappointed. So let us, if you want to share what you were disappointed about, I'll be quiet for a second while you think about that, and then we'll share, and then pay attention to what it's like in your body too. Yeah. All right. Patrick Clark says disappointment makes me feel like I didn't do enough. So can anyone else notice what disappointment, like, what does it feel like in your body? Where does that disappointment happen? Yeah. Beth says her heart hurts when she's disappointed. Tangi says, you guys, getting excited about my project and having those closest to me excited about it too. Oh, you guys are talking so fast. Deb says she can feel a weight in her chest. Not being converted from a contractor to an employee. Problem, stress in the throat. I lunched. Evelyn says she lost a program last summer and 2 people signed up and her shoulders feel slumped. Anger and disappointment feels heavy all over. My muscles drop. All right. So now we know what disappointment feels like. So make notes of this, because I'm going to wrap up, and when we wrap up, we're going to talk about this, because we want to make sure that we know what's going on for us, because oftentimes emotions drive us to consume to feel different. I will tell you guys, I generally don't emotionally spend, but I will tell you mild to moderate disappointment, and I will like be in my cabinets making myself a peanut butter and jelly. And it's not because I need one, it's just because I want to feel different. All right. So disappointment is an interesting thing, because oftentimes what we do when it comes to alignment is we never fully believe in something because we have a fear of it not going well and being disappointed with ourselves. And so a lot of times we don't really give ourselves the gas that it takes to be able to manifest and to be able to be to be able to achieve whatever goal it is that we want to achieve, or create or do whatever, because we're afraid of being disappointed. And so we don't really put our heart into it. We don't really put our back into it, because at least then when it doesn't work, we get to be right. So disappointment will not kill you, I guess is the point. Like, disappointment will not kill you. And so I want you to feel this feeling. And so this way, when we're going forward with stuff and you're like, man, I want to do really big things in the world, and you're only going to give it 87%, this is the feeling that you're avoiding, and if you were to give it your 100% and be disappointed, I don't want to make that sound like it would suck any less than it will, but not giving it the 100% is more likely to lead to the disappointment. So that's how disappointment is kind of a trap. Like, this is how we manifest disappointment. It's like when we're afraid of disappointment, we don't give things our full, like we don't give it our full, like our 100%. So then we end up actually creating that disappointment. All right. So now I want you to go with doubt, because doubt is a slightly higher vibe than disappointment, right? So look, fear, scarcity, that's the like ultimate feeling of failure. Then we have disappointment, which is like, well, it didn't exactly happen. I'm a little disappointed about that. Now we have doubt. So this is before anything went wrong, but we all know what doubt feels like. I will tell you, for me, um, doubt makes me feel like it is like right here. It's in my throat. It's like right on the top of my chest. And I will literally not want to breathe. Feeling super doubtful. I joke with Alyssa all the time, like, doubt makes me want to chain smoke Newport cigarettes. Like, that's what I want to do when I'm in doubt. And I don't smoke. But I'm like I'll be like, you know what I want to do? Smoke cigarettes. Chain smoke those cigarettes. And again, I don't smoke. I never actually engage in this, but I'll be like, pretend. So much so that Alyssa bought me pretend candy cigarettes. All right, so think of something that you're doubting. Now's a great like, what are you doubting? So now's a great time to think about, well, what am I even doubting right now? What am I doubting in the world? Am I doubting that things are going to go back to the way they were? Of course they're not going to go back. Like, you're never going to go back. You're going to go forward into a new life. But like, what are you doubting? Are you doubting that your work is going to be there? Are you doubting that your money's going to last long enough? Like, what are you doubting? And then, so tell us what you're doubting first, and then we'll share what the feelings are like in the chat. All right, so Kendra says doubt freezes her. Shauna says doubt makes her feel like a loser. Deb says, I keep falling out. How am I ever going to pull this off regarding the pivot project? Maris is, I'm doubting my ability to make money because everything right now is saying closed for business. Going back to school this year, I work at one, feelings in the back of her throat, doubting the things will be there for us in the near future. This goes back to my weather forecast mentality. Doubting that I'll ever be able to get out of debt with this setback. Ooh. All right, so now start to notice, what does that doubt feel like in your body? What does that doubt feel like? Oh, Deb says she procrastinates and feels sluggish. Ooh, Deb, I procrastinate too if I'm in doubt. I do. I'll sit around. I will sit around and think of reasons to not do things. All right, it's awful. She says, all right, so who else, what does doubt feel like? I self-sabotage when she's in doubt. Oh, Evelyn, that's super insightful. We can talk about, so self-sabotage is really just like, self-sabotage, it's just when your 5 things that we talked about in the beginning don't line up. That's what happens. All right, so Beth says, I know when I can do something and someone important pops in my bubble, and creates doubt, I can either get extremely angry or curl up in bed defeated, exhausted and depressed. Sometimes paralysis. Sometimes doing everything I can possibly do, even if it's just a distraction. I feel tightness in my throat, frozen, avoidance. I lose touch with what makes me happy. Ooh, you guys are good at this. All right, so doubt is generally just a misalignment. So when we talked about vision, thoughts, conscious thoughts, unconscious thoughts, feelings, and actions, oftentimes when we're trying to get into action before our thoughts, our conscious thoughts, our subconscious thoughts, and our feelings are all with us, we'll feel a lot of doubt. So if you've ever been trying to talk a good game to yourself, you've been trying to think positive thoughts, you've been like, I am the eternal flow of abundance. I do, but your body feels like you're sitting in an ice cold puddle of anxiety. That's, the misalignment creates the doubt. Shauna, she says she feels confused. She doesn't know if she acts, if it's the inspiration or ego. Lauren says, in my face, in my jaw, between my eyebrows, like my facial muscles are trying to help my brain work faster. Desperate to find a different action to take. All right, so that's what doubt feels like. Now I want you to think about hope. What's something you're hopeful for about right now? What's something that you really hope is gonna change for the better in this entire situation? What's one way that you hope your world is going to be different in a good way when when our new normal is figured out? Tell us the things that you hope, because now we're starting to, you guys, so the hope is still full of doubt, but it's looking at those possibilities, and it's moving away from worry and more toward, well, what if this was good? What if this all worked out for the best? What if this is going to change us all for the better? All right, so Evelyn says she hopes that people will come out of this kinder and more appreciative. Kendra hopes that more online businesses flourish now. Jan says, I'm hoping there will be more respect for teachers and our education budgets won't get cut as often. Parents are realizing that we're not just glorified babysitters. Deb says, the situation will move me out of my comfort zone. So Deb's hoping for some personal growth, secondary passive income stream. Shauna says, I'm hopeful that my husband and I can connect at a much more intimate level through all of this. Ooh, relationship goals. That this passes as we figured out a different way of doing business, raising our kids, interacting with others. You guys are good. That people will come together to work. Doesn't this feel good? I'm getting tingles. I'm getting tingly about the hope. So make a note of what does hope feel like in your body? Because hope is the realm of possibilities, but doubt and hope. So when we talked about the physical world, right? So physical world, slow vibration, real stuff, you know, put water into it. Possibilities, this is where we're in doubt and hope. Hope and doubt are very similar. It's just saying, I'm going to focus on the positive or I'm going to focus on the negative. You're in the same realm. You're in the same room of reality, right? And you can be focusing on the things that you hope will happen, the things that are possible that are going to happen, the things that you want to be possible, or you could be thinking about the things that you don't want to be possible. But notice the difference of how that feels in your body. All right, so Patrick says he's excited and energized. He wants to do something, not need to do something. That's a very different thing. Kendra's lighter. Evelyn, just allowing herself to hope, feel better. Deb says her chest and heart feels lighter. Hope is like a spark to move you forward to yes. Oh, all right. Did I miss? You guys are typing super fast, which I thoroughly appreciate. All right. Hope so that we can all slow down in a good way. Let go of some of the hustle and grind. So you guys can feel the difference, right? So even just my voice talking about, even just my voice lifted talking about hope, right? And so hope is, yeah. Oh, so Beth says that hope is still a little anxious for her, and that's absolutely true. And here's why, is because you're still in that same realm of possibilities. And so it takes a lot of, hope is a conscious effort. Hope is saying, well, what do I want to happen? Like, your brain is naturally programmed to be thinking about all of the possible things that could go wrong, because again, your brain just wants to keep you alive every day. So your brain is like evaluating. They're like, all right, well, are we going to have enough food? Is there going to be enough TP? What's going to happen if there's not enough TP? Do we have enough hand sanitizer? Do we have enough school supplies? What's going to happen to the kids? Are they going to lose their education? Are they going to be able to read by the time September comes? And so these are things that your brain is kind of like programmed to be taken care of, right? Because we have responsibilities. We have all this stuff to do. So hope is saying, you know what? Let me consciously think about this for a second. What do I hope happens here? Well, I hope that everyone learns to be a little kinder. I hope that we learn to appreciate each other. I hope that teachers, we learn to see teachers differently. I hope that we feel different. I hope that the change makes us change for the better. And so we can feel that hope in our body, and that feels, so you guys are all just saying that feels lighter, right? So lower vibes or slower vibes feels heavier, feels more solid, right? Like there's a solidness to the lower vibes, fear, disappointment, doubt. So now we're into hope. All right. So the next thing that I want to talk about is fantastic. It's the vibe of celebration. Now, celebration does it's good for a few things. Celebration anchors in what we expected to happen. It's the vibration of success. Like, think about this. When we have kids, we celebrate everything with them. They take a step, we celebrate it. They fall on their butt, we celebrate it. They write their letters backwards, we celebrate it because they wrote it. We celebrate the pictures that they give to us. We celebrate all of it. And so when it comes to keeping your money vibes high, you want to celebrate, excuse me, all the dollars that come in. You want to celebrate the things that you expect. So like what ends up happening is in celebration, when we expect things to happen, sometimes they lose their magic. Like we're like, oh, I expected that paycheck, I expected that client payment, I expected this to come in. And so we forget that celebration is like a party in the name of gratitude, but it's also to keep us on track. Like success in whatever way like that we're thinking of what it means, it's not a super quick, you're not going to get from where you are today to your ultimate success overnight. So celebration helps to keep us happy and joyful on that path. So right now, I want you to think of a few things that you can celebrate, maybe things that you didn't think about celebrating before. Money in your bank account, abundance in your life, could be love, could be food, could be time. Like, I don't care whatever abundance you want to be looking at, but who's got something to celebrate? Janet says she's gotten more time and she's thankful for that. So who else has something that they could be celebrating? Carrie Walker's gotten more sleep. Who's gotten a paycheck? Deb says she's celebrating a shift in her relationship with her fiance. Time to walk and to get into shape. Lauren Wood has money in savings. Tangi says they're letting her work from home, so she's still getting paid. Celebrating the money that we have coming in. Celebrating the money that they spend. Ooh, that's beautiful. I had a friend repay me for legal fees. Time to cook and have more family time. Getting through March in surplus. Oh, pause for the month on the mortgage. Yeah, that's a big celebration. More sleep time with sun, time to exercise, getting paid, more time to myself. So even though this is gonna just be like a little bit silly, I want you to really celebrate, like really be excited about it. Like maybe like, jazz hands, like that. Yes, like a celebration. Like what does celebration feel like in your body? What is that like success feel like, that achievement feel like? Like what does that feel like in your body? Like even if it's small, even if it's like, whatever, like, oh, so electricity, it feels like freedom. It feels like the opportunity to walk outside for hours in the sunshine. What else? Evelyn says, working more on my program with busy moms, more time with my family, feeling more patient. Oh, beautiful. Sleeping well. My daughter's anxiety is almost dissipated, right? Happy dancing on the inside, heart pumping energy, brightens up my day, energetic, right? So what does it, I'll tell you, when I'm feeling celebratory, I feel like there's like an effervescence. Like it feels like, like champagne bubbles, like coming like up through my body and like radiating, right? So celebration is like a radiating energy. It's not slow and dense and tight and making you feel small. People who are celebrating are like, yeah, like they're dancing, they're moving, they're taking up a lot of space. Celebration makes me smile. It makes me feel useful. Makes me want to dance. You can see the difference between curling up in a ball in desperation and dancing, what that feels like in your body, you guys, right? Sometimes it feels like bubbles and a fountain of energy bursting from the top of my head. It really feels calm in my being. All right, so this is celebration. And so keeping your vibes high. So like we know what fear feels like, what disappointment, what doubt feels like. And I'll tell you, if you're feeling doubtful, hope is only one little step away. Like you can get from doubt to hope relatively quickly. You can be like, you know what? I'm feeling really worried about this. What do I hope will happen? What do I hope for? And then you can start to look for the things that are worth celebrating in your life. You can start to look for those things. And this is not stuff that you're going to be able to do in just a minute. You may need to take a minute, like you may need to take some time with this to be able to get into celebration. But being able to tap into celebration vibes celebration is extra cool because you can even start physically. Like you can get your body to celebrate before you can get your mind to celebrate. Celebration is a really cool backdoor way to get into higher vibes. So if you're sitting in a puddle of fear and scarcity, you can put on a happy song and stand up and dance and then start to work on that mind. But like sometimes, like there's two ways, like so your subconscious thoughts are affected by your conscious thoughts and affected by your body. So you can get into celebration even just with your physical body. All right, so I want you to think about gratitude. So I want you to think about let's think about something that's beautiful in your life that you already have, comforts that you already have, those sort of things. I want you to think about things that you already have that you're thankful for having. So go ahead and put those in the list. What are you thankful for having? You just grateful. Kendra says her grandbaby. A beautiful home, children at home, grateful for this, my kids and family. So grateful for health, grateful for food, grateful for internet, having good friends, a house that pays for itself. Woo, that's a good one. Friends, family, son, apartment, job, car, board games. Doctors and nurses, the ability to work from home. The grace that vendors are giving us right now. Yeah, that's something to be grateful for. Coffee, savings in the bank, supportive family and friends, connection, beautiful. A home gym, wine, technology. My daughter playing next to me. The basics, fire pit in the backyard, music, wine, Peloton bike, internet. So what does gratitude feel like in your body? So I'll tell you, for me, gratitude, it sits in the exact same spot that scarcity sits, but it feels like warm. It feels good. It's a fantastic feeling. I could snuggle up into gratitude and take a nap there. Deb says it's lightness in the chest. Shauna says it feels like love. Yes, warm feeling of value, soothing, relaxing. Now, I want you to think about when you feel emotionally full, when you're feeling warm inside yourself, cozy inside yourself, when you're feeling safe and taken care of and in a state of gratitude, do you need butter? Just the same way as you did when I was talking about my butter before. No, you can get by without the butter because you're already good. Like, you cannot feel simultaneously hungry and full at the same time. So if you think about scarcity and gratitude, like hunger and fullness, gratitude is something that you can tap into. And so this is how we're tapping into it. There's a million different ways to tap into gratitude. I talk to clients about writing Post-it notes around their house and of the things that they're grateful for, which is good if you have little kids. You can send gratitude texts to people that you love and admire. You can write it down in a journal. You can say them out loud. It doesn't matter. The gratitude practice is less about how you do it and more about the feeling of warmth and glow and light and magic that happens like when you know that you're done. That's how that happens. All right, so the next one that we want to talk about is appreciation. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about your one of your favorite humans, one of your most favorite people in the world. And I want you to take a minute and I want you to write down as many things as a minute as you can appreciate about that person. As many things that you love about the way they look, the way they sound, the way they are, who they are, the way they treat you, any of those things. I want you to think about appreciation. So we'll do it for one of your favorite people. Go ahead and you want to be very specific in appreciation. You want to be specific. You don't want to just be grateful for your husband. You want to be grateful for the way that he's calm in times of crisis. You don't want to just be grateful that he exists. You want to be grateful that he cooked dinner last week for you. You want to be very specific in appreciation. So think of 10 or 15 things to be very specific about. All right. Kimberly says, what do we got? All right. Hearing laughter lightens my heart. The helping hand when minds are tired to open jars. The lively debates. Shauna is grateful for her grandmother. She's soft and squishy. She always made me feel like I was her favorite. That is such a good feeling, to feel like you're the favorite. I mean, what could be better? What could be better? Willing to share her money with me and the family. She was generous. She always made food for us. Uh, mm. Deb says her fiance has been stellar around. You guys, like you're making me so happy I could cry a little, right? Like, this is what appreciation feels like. Karen says her best friend has her back, pushes me to achieve the goals. They go dancing. Like, Evelyn says her husband kisses her forehead when they're sleeping. He starts the coffee before he leaves for work. He's calm and patient. He believes in her. All right. So what does appreciation feel like? Go ahead. Okay. For me, it's behind my eyes. It's the third eye thing. You guys, I'm not a baby. I cry about, well, I guess I am a baby. I cry a little bit all the time. All right. Deb says warmth throughout the body. Patrick Clark, what does he say? Patrick Clark, Jen, for being loving and funny and clever and smart and getting things done and pushing him forward and taking charge of things where he can't, and being the captain of the ship. All right. So, so it's warmness. It makes me feel strong. Lauren says like someone's running the fingers through her hair. Right? Can you guys feel what do you feel that? What is appreciation like? Appreciation feels very different than scarcity, huh? Makes her feel. Kim says it's expansive and it feels safe at the same time. It feels like love. All right. So this is the last one that we're going to talk about, and this one is super fun. So I want to talk about desire. Now look, we can think about desire like 3 levels, right? Like before. So physical world, we're going to have needs. We're going to have needs in our physical world. We're either going to have things or we don't. We're going to need things. In the realm of possibilities, it's like a want. Like, oh, well, I would want this thing to happen. Is it possible or impossible? Okay, cool. Want is a little bit different. But desires are things that are like they're so big, you're not even setting a goal for them. They're the sort of things that are fun to imagine, and if like they're the sort of things that are so good, even just imagining them is a fun time. So I'm gonna tell you guys one of mine, and then I'll give you a minute to think of some of your own. So I like to travel, so this is one of my favorite things. So I decided that I was gonna just want to go to Morocco. I asked a friend of mine, she's like my manifesting buddy. We like play these games with each other. So like there's no date, there's no plane tickets bought, there's no date set. This is not a thing where we're like making plans for it to happen. This is an energetic play field. We're not making plans here. We're just playing. This is like energetically getting into the field of your pure potentiality. We're not pulling this down into the real world. We're playing in it. We're playing. All right. Evelyn said, when you said the word desire, I instantly felt selfish for wanting anything more. All right. If this makes you feel selfish, don't do it. Maybe do it for this activity, but if in general, if you feel, if this brings you back down, then don't do it. Like, you'll have to practice it. You might have other work to do to be able to get here, but give it a try for today. There's not going to be any damage done, but if you try to get yourself to a space where you then fall out of alignment, you're going to have like the opposite effect. It's going to be like running until you get hurt. Like it's just not helpful. So if you are someone who feels selfish, or you feel like you don't deserve, or there's a lot of like the idea of even mentally desiring something is not for you, then go ahead and do this one today to notice. stay with me for today, but then maybe don't incorporate this until you're ready for it. This is higher level stuff, guys. This is not like manifesting 101. We're doing more advanced stuff here. All right. So when I think about this desire, so when you're playing, so we're not making plans here. This is about playing. So this is what I do. I look up luxury hotels, Marrakesh, and I go to the websites and I look at the suites and I look at the villas and I'm like, oh, this is where we're going to stay. And this has 8 bedrooms and this is what's going to happen. And I'm going to have so much fun in that pool. And I look at the menus, I look at the menus for room service and I just play with it. Like, it's not like it's, like I just play with it. It's just fun. I'm going to take my kids. We're going to do this. I Google all of the best restaurants in Marrakesh. I look at the tours. You can ride camels, all the best places to go shopping, all of this cool stuff. And so by the time I'm done, I can smell the spices. Like I can smell all those like Middle Eastern delicious things. I can imagine like what the Egyptian cottons feel like. I can imagine how hot it is. I can imagine the sand. I can imagine the noises. And that feels fun. Like it feels good. It's just, and again, there's no pressure around this. Like there's no pressure around it. It's not on my calendar. I didn't buy plane tickets, and I look at the prices on all these things and I'm just like, oh, well, of course. Yeah, of course it's $10,000 a night. No big deal. Yeah, of course. Like, and it's, and look, I've been doing a lot of money work for a very long time. So I can, so this is, you might need to get started with like, well, wouldn't it be nice if we went to a house at the lake? Well, wouldn't it be nice if we went out to dinner at this fancy restaurant? Wouldn't it be nice if, and then you play with it. You can get more and more elaborate as you go. What are the things that you want to give? Think that you can do that too. Like, wouldn't it be nice if I could just buy my mom a house? Wouldn't it be nice if I could just, do these other things? So Evelyn says, I think she thinks she gets stuck, that she has a wonderful life and instantly of people less fortunate. Maybe I'm letting guilt lead me. The thing is, so look, here's a perfect time to talk about this, is like, money is an energetic currency. If you look at the amount of money that existed in all times, it's gone up and up and up. As the money is not limited. Money is an exchange of value. And the more humans there are, the more value we can provide to each other. And the more crafty we become, the more value we provide to each other. So actual cash is just a symbol of an energetic currency. It's an exchange of power. It's like, my clients pay me, and then they get all of the knowledge and the calibration and the tweaking to their work that I've spent years to do. They get to make progress in 12 months that took me 7 years to do. And so I teach them and we tweak it and we do it. And all of that is an exchange of power. And in exchange, they're able to help their clients. They're able to make big moves. They're able to make more money. They're able to spend more money. And so right now, especially more than ever right now, spending money is critical for anyone, is critical. Like right now, if you have the ability to earn and spend money, you should do it. Like, the economy is kind of like a body, in the fact where if we don't get cash flow to your business, it will die. Cash flow is blood for business. And so if now's the time, if you step back, you have the ability to earn and you don't take it, well, you're not going to be spending. Someone else's business is going to die because you're not pumping. And that's not like you personally, but it's like, if you have the ability to be a pump, you should pump. And the thing about it is, like, the level of money and experience and things like that is directly correlated to the amount of value that you put in the world. It's directly correlated. So there are people who are less fortunate, but it's not because you are more fortunate. Like, they're two different things. You know what I mean? They're not at all related. So we have this idea that money is scarce, and that if some people have a lot of money, it means that other people don't have money. But that's absolutely not how it goes. That doesn't make sense. It's not how it goes. Like, people pick on Jeff Bezos all the time. I watch this. All right, so Jeff Bezos owns Amazon, and Jeff Bezos takes like a $90,000 a year salary. But he's the richest man in the world, not because he's sitting on boatloads of cash, but because he owns Amazon. And when we think about the value that Amazon provides in the world, like, I'll tell you, I have a good handful of friends that are millionaires from doing business on Amazon. Crazy Muscle is a friend of mine. They're making bank selling creatine and like powders on, so he's created a marketplace where he's literally created a place of value where people have made their entire livelihoods. I think Amazon employs almost 250,000 people. And then that's not even including all their subcontractors and their vendors and all these other things. And so Jeff Bezos created a massive amount of value in the world. And that's why he owns something that makes him the richest man in the world, because that's the level of value that he created. Bill Gates created Microsoft, which is I bet every single one of you knows how to use Microsoft. And I bet in some way, shape, or form, it's helped you make a document, make a PowerPoint, make a spreadsheet. I bet Bill Gates' work has helped every single one of us. And that's why, you know what I mean? Like, there's ways that we look at money, like, selling time and service. And like, when you really think about like the value that you put into the world, you get paid according to that. Like, and so it's the amount of people that you help, the depth at which you help them, the difficulty of this, like the difficulty that it is to procure the amount of like skills that you have, and the difficulty that it is to replace you. That's and it's not a perfect calculation. There's not a way to put like an exact dollar amount around it, but that's pretty much where it goes. And so that's why, so even like sports stars or movie stars, for an example, like, we've all felt celebration based on someone else's success. Like, you guys, when you get off of this, maybe go and watch, you ever watch the Olympics where Carrie Strug broke her foot and then she went and she won the gold medal? You ever watch that? And she did it with a broken foot. Like, you can feel her celebration there. That will hit you. And so she impacted the entire world in that, 2 minutes of whatever. And she probably got paid more for that Olympic thing than people working for 2 years of their lives. And it's because she had a bigger impact. When we think of like doctors, so doctors have probably a small amount of patients, like per day, but a high impact, right? Like, if you go and you get a heart valve replaced, that's the difference between life and death. And so doctors, even though they affect a small amount of people, they do it at an incredibly deep level. So, so you start to pay attention to these things. But, all right, so we digress for a minute. Okay. All right, so Kendra is traveling through Italy, Spain, Greece. She's enjoying the food, the wine, the laughter, the joy. She's taking cooking classes. She's learning new things. She's learning the stuff grape leaves and make paella, right? And Deb says she's, I play with the house and see if I can see myself living with my family, dream about traveling private jet to my events across the country and speaking engagements. If I'm doing well enough to have these things, it means I've reached the point where I'm able to give so much more to rescue, so much more to her family, right? I do struggle with guilt for having these dreams, though. So the thing is I would just circumvent the guilt, because we're not putting these things into plans. Like, this is about an energetic play field. It's not about saying, you know what I'm going to do? Get a private jet. Like, it's about imagining. And the reason why this is super important, and one day these things definitely, they're in the field of pure potentiality, if you can imagine them. They're there. And they're there if you can imagine them. So they're possible. Of course it's possible. But what it does, so look, in those 3 levels of energy is predictability, right? In the physical world, the predictable world right now where we're all shaken up. Up here we have the realm of possibility. This is where doubt, faith, hope exist. Up here is where vision is. Up here is where we play in the realm of inspiration. And so if you can start to move your attention and your space up from the realm of predictability into the possibility, and then even spend a little bit of time imagining all of these super wonderful things, all of the impact that you can make, all of the desires that you want, or even if what, like, you can even focus on, like, well, what's the impact that I want to make? For you guys that are feeling guilty, like, maybe focus on, like, all right, well, if every rescue in the whole country was fully funded because of my efforts, wouldn't that be a great impact to make? Wouldn't that be a great legacy to leave? Wouldn't that feel super good to know that every single puppy is going to have food and shelter, and that there's enough beds, and that everyone's getting spayed, and that we're solving the problem? You know, you could imagine it from an impact perspective too. And that's equally as fun. That's equally as fun. All right. So I want you to think about what is, and again, if desire is, if we went too high for you and desire freaked you out, the next time you do this, skip that part. But what does desire feel like? For me, desire feels like motivation. It feels like I could do all these things. It feels exciting. It feels fun. It feels like uplifted. What does it feel like for you? And then we'll wrap up because we're 5 minutes over. Patrick says desires living in a small college town like Princeton, having a shore house vacation and frequently going around the world, living abroad for a year as a family, investing in our family and friends' endeavors, having a family nonprofit, giving away to causes, expansive, feels motivational and abundant, right? So look, guys, this was an energetic experiment. We went all the way from everything that we were worried about all the way to feeling motivational, expansive. And so as you take this forward, what I want you to be able to do is to understand, to check in with your body and know where you're at. And then you want to be reaching for the next best feeling. You want to be reaching. So if you're feeling disappointment, well, then move up to doubt, because doubt is going to be better. And then from doubt, you can get to hope. And from hope, you can get to celebration. And from celebration, you can get to gratitude and appreciation. Now, appreciation and gratitude are like wild cards, because you can really pull those in any single time. Like, you can take a moment to check in with yourself and get from almost any emotion to gratitude or appreciation within a few minutes. I'll tell you that, like, so I sold stocks and bonds for a while, and I was just perpetually faced with disappointment. Like, clients would just reschedule, or people would decide they weren't going to invest their money with me or whatever else. And this was a point in my life where I definitely didn't know all of the things that I know. So I was like perpetually up against disappointment. So I used to just keep a little gratitude journal in my desk drawer, and I would, like, if I felt disappointment, before I would let those thoughts, because thoughts get momentum. So, like, you think one doubtful thought, if you catch it early, you just have to think one hopeful thought instead. But if that doubt rolls around in your head for like 30 minutes, thoughts get momentum. So you can go from doubt back down, disappointment, all the way to fear, all the way to desperation, all the way to shame, guilt, all the way to hopelessness, powerlessness. You can get all the way down to the bottom, right? But if you catch those thoughts early and you do a body check, and you can get yourself there. So I used to keep a gratitude journal in my desk drawer. And the reason is because if I had a little bit of disappointment, I could list out enough things in gratitude and appreciation to bring me back up. I could make my next phone call, or talk to my next client, still having, that sense of abundance, still having that. Because people can, like we talked about at the beginning, people can feel your vibes. So if you're talking to someone and you feel disappointed, who wants to buy investments from someone who seems disappointed? Oh, that sounds like risky, right? We're like, I don't know. No thanks. I don't want that. Maybe later, maybe after my kids finish soccer. All right. Karen says, desire is traveling the Greek islands with friends, eating Greek food, abundance of money to help my friend and family, charity. It feels exciting. It feels hopeful. All right. So I love it. Was this helpful for you? Was this helpful? Do you feel like you got something out of experiencing all those different varieties of money vibes? And then do you have any questions before we go? Do you have any questions for me as we wrap up? Oh, good. All right. Deb says, very helpful. Oh, you guys are so welcome. I'm honestly honored and thrilled that you hung out with me for a couple hours today. I am super, super happy. Good. All right. All right. So no questions. All right. So I love you. I appreciate you. If you want to talk to me about being like in my mastermind community, you can go to breesedano.com to apply. I'm taking clients right now for my year-long program. So the way that'll go is if you want to apply, you can go to breesedano.com. Apply for a quick 15-minute phone call, and then we'll talk about it. And if you're a good fit, we'll invite you in. And that's it. All right. So I love you. I appreciate you. And I will see you later.